Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Shalom, 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 everybody. How y'all doing out there today? I am your host, Elder Rawchaa, and you're tuned in to G.O.C.C. Media, Tuesday night. Good to be back. Good to be back. I know we came in live last week, in a different type of situation, but we're here today, you know what I mean? And we got a great topic tonight. We have a great, great, great topic tonight. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How are you guys doing out there today? How was everybody doing out there today? All praises be to the Most High. How was everybody doing out there? Okay. Can y'all hear me out there good before we get it started? Yeah, I'm going to teach y'all some great information today. Great information for the times we're going into, right? The truth about God's forming and your health. The truth about God's forming and your health, meaning the way that the Most High intended it for it to be back then, which is one of the main reasons our people would, you understand, live way longer. Okay, I don't have to explain to you that, the way that this world is today, modern science, modern farming techniques, agriculture, you understand, any and every way that, they do things today. I don't have to explain to you that it's actually taking away from our longevity when it comes to our lifespan. So tonight, I want to teach you guys who are just starting the garden, and even those of you who are who are advanced, when it comes to this garden, that you can always learn more. They have not even solved. I mean, they've not even researched everything when it comes to, you understand, the soil. The microorganisms in the soil. It's like a whole network and universe down there of its own. And there's no way, I think they said they only discovered 5%. And that was only about maybe 12 to 15 years ago. So they're still scratching the surface to try to understand how the Most High did all of this, how perfect His ways are, and how, because we're starting to see the effects of deviating away from His ways, His techniques. And what better time to talk about this than in these last days, around this last Jubilee that we're in, and trying to really get our health together and not understanding why things are so, why we're suffering. Obviously, we're suffering from the curses of Adam and Eve. We're also suffering from the curses of our forefathers not obeying our God, Him putting us into captivity. So we would have to go through also the curses of Deuteronomy on top of the curses of Adam and Eve. And I'm going to tell you something. The Most High slowly giving us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding again for the remnant to be able to endure through this and get us out of it. Right? So tonight we're going to focus on self-sustaining, the gardening, regenerative farming. Very, very important topic. And you have some people out there who just wants to, oh man, we got to prepare. Oh man, it's bad. These are people who just are afraid to die. Okay, but these are the people who don't come, they don't do research. They don't, not that they even come to the elders page to check this stuff out. In their mind, they know it all. In their mind, they have it all together, but then they're actually not doing this. But they'll tell you, oh man, I know already. You don't know nothing. Because if you knew it, like Paul said, you show me you understand, but I'll show you by my faith and my works. Show me your faith and your belief, right? And your talk and what you've been thinking up there, but not acting upon it. I'm going to show you by my works. See what I'm saying? So it's a difference. And these will be the same people like when that little, you remember we was little, the little red hen talking about, and then she put out there, hey, the little story we used to read in elementary. You better help me bake this bread. You don't help me bake this bread and do what it takes to get this bread. Guess what? You ain't finna have none of it. And so, hey, it's a lot of that in general, not even just in the truth, but even also in the truth. You know, they think the Most High is going to take an angel and just sweep them off their feet and carry them and everything. Listen, yeah, he will to those who are obedient and those who use wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to do what he's telling them to do. He said, listen, be as pilgrims upon the earth. Endure. It's not just about knowledge, kicking knowledge and being deep and worried about prophecies. That's going to happen anyway. You also have to use some action. Because I don't think one man or a few men is just going to be planting food just because we giving knowledge for a whole nation of people. That's not how this thing works. Man, that corn sure look good. Guess what? It definitely does look good. But I sure wish you would have came out here and helped to till, to plant, to water, to maintain. Huh? And guess when it's really going to be looking good? When we roast that thing up on a fire. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're going to talk about it tonight. So let's get to it. First, I want to talk about the importance of growing food, and I'm going to bring a scripture out of what happened back in Israel when it came to a famine. And our people, how important it was for food control. I'm gonna show you that. And we're gonna go to really quick. We're gonna go to 2 Kings 25 and 10. 2 Kings 25 and 10. Let me get that really quick. Before we get some examples of how to do certain things in the garden. And what I'm going to bring out is going to help you to understand how doing it this way is really going to long-term help your health overall. And even when we go back to places like the wilderness, hey, our bodies will be more agreeable with going to another side of the earth because of dealing with things like bacteria. Shalom, Elder Dale. Shalom out there. So, like I said, let's go to 2 Kings 25 and 10 really quick. Actually, I'm probably going to read a little bit before that. Let's go. Let's just start at verse 1. I'm going to put it on the screen for you guys so you can see it. All righty. So it says the fall of Jerusalem. It's crazy that we are at a similar time in modern day like we were in history, where we are in modern day the daughter of Babylon. Well, back then it was the fall of Jerusalem with the ancient Babylonians, which are the modern day East Indians, for those of you who don't know. That doesn't mean that East Indians are bad people, all of them. This is just identifying who they are. They are, in fact, the Nimrodians today are the East Indian people. They are a Hamitic people, and there is some Asian or Japhetic in them as well, but they're primarily Hamite. Okay? So let's check it out really quick at verse 1. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, okay, that Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, he came he and all his hosts against Jerusalem. Jerusalem are the Negroes, the Native Indians, and Hispanics. Worldwide, they're scattered right now. So we're not in one particular land, but the devil is going to try to do the same thing as he already is in many countries where we reside. Okay, bring famine, right? Bring all types of confusion, uproars. All right, and push narratives, push false flags to create a boogeyman to only bring forth more security, where your food is getting rationed out from the authorities in place, the beast system that will eventually transition into the mark of the beast. So let's read verse 2. So they built forts against it round about. Now we're at verse 2, excuse me. And the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. So they sat and waited. It wasn't an overnight thing. So that's what people think. They think it's like a quick thing. So when we're talking about these things and they see everything good, oh man, it's all good. Well, don't forget, there's a time of plenteous and there's a time of famine. So when people think it's all good, they feel the need not to prepare. And these are just reminders. That's all they are. They're reminders to put oil in your lamp. Stay one mind with the body. Learn all the things you need to learn, because wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of your time, of our time. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people in the land. So here it is, right? You go to verse 2, it says, and the city was besieged unto the 11th year of the king of Zedekiah. So basically it took a little time. They have time to build around our city, to put a defense camp on the outside of us, right? And then you understand they besieged us and the famine came eventually. The famine came and they eventually starve you out. You kill each other over the food, and then they could just come in after that. It's a typical thing that they do in war. So, like I said, right now, yes, things are a little getting expensive. AI is coming in and all of that. They're putting all of these AI centers and things like that everywhere. But whatever about that. What are you going to do about your own situation? Right? You have to prepare to a certain degree, the best you can, and learn all you can. It's not the time to be scrolling through Instagram if you're not going to see something that you're going to benefit from and, go and actually act upon it. So right now, Esau, once again, has started this war, even though it's prophetic and the Most High is controlling it all. The Most High is going to take care of his remnant. He's going to take care of his people. But the whole deal is he also has an expectation of us. Christ said the kingdom come not by observation. The kingdom is not going to come about from you just talking and trying to be deep and talking about prophecy. We got to do that anyway. But what are you doing actually to try to better yourself in these type of situations? Are you saving food? Huh? Or are you trying to learn to do new skills? Whatever the case may be. This is very, very important. This kingdom will not come by you being a sideline watcher. You just come into Sabbath, observing. The kingdom does not come by observing or observation. Man, let me see what they doing. Let me see what they gonna do first, and then I'm a do something. Or you come in, it's not working fast enough for you leave, you know what I mean? But then when that ark is finally built and time to float, now you want to come back in the ark. No. So, the kingdom is not going to come by those who are just observing it, whether it be saying positive things or negative. You can observe and say, hey, man, it's great what you guys are doing. Hey, well, let's not make it only about talk and say it's great. How about you come and help us? Man, you guys are doing a good work. How about, no different than Christ said, if you see the poor naked, come and clothe them. If you see we need a little extra brick and you got some mortars, you got mortar and straw and whatever it takes to make bricks, clay, hey, donate some of that. Instead of just saying good word, the Lord is good. Hey, we all know he's good. Don't say be thou clothed, but you don't provide some clothing. Right? Or see how far it's going to go, and then you want to come through. The kingdom cometh not by observation. Okay? It doesn't come with just looking and only showing up to feast days and just, no. Showing up when you want to show up. So, let us talk about it here. Verse 3 again. And on the 9th day, now you want to pay attention here. I'm taking my time with this part. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, okay, the famine prevailed in the city. Here comes the famine. So wherever the Jerusalemites or the people who are Jews, ancient Jews live today, Jews and Israelites live today, the North American Indians, and I'm talking about the black North American Indians. Obviously, they have been tainted and whitewashed, some of them. But I'm talking about predominantly these were black people before. That way, I can let the people know out there, everyone is not from the tribe of Judah. There's some Hispanics and so-called Native Indians that are in these communities. These are the true children of Israel. Obviously, they've been mixed, of course. I mean, they took down some of our people 90% through some of these captive wars that the Most High put us under for our forefathers not listening. So wherever we are is what I'm saying, though. Focus on that. Wherever we are scattered in the world, Filipinos, Hawaiians, Cubans, Panamanians, wherever we are all over the earth, some people even in Europe, the devil had a plan to do the same thing across the whole world. No different than what happened in ancient Egypt. How, they made it harder for us to make brick. So now it's harder because inflation is at an all-time high. The finances are not going up. Okay? So now people have to maneuver and pull them beans and rice out. You got to get you a little beef broth or chicken broth to make them beans taste good, because you can't just be serving no beans and then black pepper and salt. That's not going to pop it off. At least that's not how Judah do it. You listen, if they not refried, they need to have some flavor to them. Some type of broth or some meat up in them joints. Or they going to be tasting like, it's just going to taste, the meal going to taste like air. But what I'm saying is, all jokes aside, we have to maneuver. You have to decide, okay, am I going to get a little, this is how expensive things are getting, just like it was in ancient Egypt. Am I going to get some gas today? Or am I going to do this? Right? But it's all good. Hey, you have to maneuver and budget in certain areas, or you use wisdom to learn how how things are going and how to borrow from this system. And I'm not talking about borrowing money. I'm saying seeing where things are going, investing where things are going, okay, or learning how to do whatever new trades that can't be taken by AI, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to tell you, one of the most important things is food. One of the most important things is food. And we're going to read it here. Okay? It's no military with no food. It's no warriors with no food. Food, the spirit of the Most High in food will be the number one resource. And I'm talking about water included, which that's being taken also by these data centers. Shalom, Sister Lanissa Terry. How you doing, my sister? So check it out. So now it comes where it says the famine prevailed in the city. We're at the end of verse 3. And there was no bread for the people in the land. There was nothing to eat for the people in the land. So, they call the bread daily bread, because eating daily fresh meal bread. I've lived in Egypt for 8 years. When it says daily bread, it's not called daily bread just for a reason. It was like a daily vitamin. Because when you eat fresh milled wheat, it has all the vitamins and minerals except for 4. It was lacking iodine, right? I think like a B vitamin. I always forget the other few vitamins. I haven't written down in my notes, but I'm eating everything it takes to get everything. But you would get the iodine from the sea, from eating the fish. You would eat your meat. So you would have everything like that. But the daily bread, even if you were poor, has most of your vitamins and minerals to allow a man to live. So in Egypt, even though the people were on food stamps and certain things in Egypt, they have a certain system like that there too. They would give them actually real healthy things. Here, they were going to give you the government cheese. When I seen in Egypt, I was like, okay, y'all got the same type of system here, but they were actually giving them proper wheat bread with wheat germ and stuff on top, wheat bran on top of the bread, to where they're still getting really nice nutrition. But the bread was made daily. Every day, if you only had like a quarter, you can go get you a stack of bread for your family. And I was out there just watching how everything goes. I just like the bread because I like fresh bread when I was out there. I like that daily bread. And so back now in Babylon, the daughter of Babylon here, the Most High blessed it where, like I said, I've showed you guys, because it wasn't really out there like that. I've always baked bread, but it's a difference between baking fresh milled bread. When you read about Elijah and the widow, you remember she needed oil and things like that to make her bread. So you don't necessarily need oil if you're making sourdough bread. But some people are not good at having sourdough, so they may need a little oil. Okay? But this is how important that bread was. It was your daily vitamin and mineral situation, okay? So, let's continue. But when it says bread, it's not always only talking about only bread. It's talking about food in general. And the city was broken up. Verse 4, I think we're at verse 5 or 4, excuse me. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between the two walls, which is by the king's garden. Okay, now check it out. You see what's going on here. It said the men fled by night, the men of war. Okay, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about. The king went the way toward the plain, and the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army were scattered from him. So the men end up leaving our king. Okay? So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon, to Riblah. And they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. So If these men were wise and listened to the Most High, more than likely they would have, like the warning always comes to the prophets and the teachers, done what the Most High said beforehand, like he showed Joseph, like Christ told our people, when you see Jerusalem being compassed with armies, then know that the desolation draw nigh. But obviously they waited until a siege was around, okay? And this is what happened, even though it was the inevitable in this situation here. So let's continue. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King of Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. Now remember, we're talking about East Indians and Negroes here. East Indians and Negroes. For those of you who may be in Christianity or Muslim, whatever, you don't know who these people are. Okay? And he burnt the house of the Lord and the king's house and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every man's house burnt he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard break down the walls of Jerusalem round about. Once again, they starved our people out. There was no more bread. People are weak. People are famished. People are dehydrated. People have no energy. Okay? The men of war are left protecting the king. Obviously they're going to have certain resources for them that people can't take, them being men of war. They end up dipping out because it's time to protect the king. But it's always better to do things beforehand. But because of our disobedience, usually things like this are the inevitable. Once again in our time, most of our people are disobedient no matter where we're scattered, which is why the Most High is going to have to save a remnant. Once again, listening to Christ's word, when you see Jerusalem being compassed with armies, then know that the desolation draw nigh. There's things we know are already coming. Famine is coming. We still have a little time, but things can pop up at any moment if they want to. While there's time, while the getting is good, we work, we move like the ants before the winter comes. And when I say winter, usually that's when things are shut down in the earth. On the other side of the earth, people more so focus on gathering things, gathering how much finances they can gather, and they rest in the winter for the most part, especially a lot of tour type places. Okay? So we have to get back to the mentality that things are not going to always be the same. Don't just blow money and just, right? Money is just a tool. Okay? So, 11. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon with the remnant of the multitude did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. So they went into captivity, obviously. But the captain of the guard left the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbandmen. Now check this out. Look how important it was when it came to food. What this captain did. He said, hold up. There's already a famine going on. We want to make sure that we leave some of the people who are very good at growing food and have the skills at growing food and our husbandmen behind to do such a thing, because food is of the utmost importance. So where people are happy, oh man, I can go to the grocery store, get me this and that, and that's cool. I got me a good job at the corporate office, I make good money. Okay. But if it all falls, what do you know how to do if the grocery stores don't open up? Huh? All of the people who have that pride, now it turns into, now you turn into a beggar's mindset because you did not want to prepare. You want to know how to do things at the last minute. No, it's not how it works. So I'm just saying, everybody is so focused on being a child, no different than the Israelites back then, being a child of Abraham. I'm an Israelite. That's the focus. The focus, it seems to never be finishing. on all levels. We run to mischief. We see drama going on. We see other people's business going on. We're running to mischief. We want to make mischief the topic of discussion. We want to make these Instagram beefs the topic of discussion. You know, we want to make a waste of time a topic of discussion. If you notice online, only thing our people promote is negativity. Most of it. The algorithm is going to push it. And I think Elder was talking about this in a lesson on the Sabbath, to where people think that's all that's going on in life, because the few of our people who's putting out productive information, that the algorithm is really not going to push that unless you just deny these other posts from coming to you. But it's still it's almost impossible to not see some of these other things, obviously. But we have to have our mind on the kingdom. I'm not just talking about growing food, but I'm going to tell you, people are going to realize what I just said, growing food, and how important it is to understand this way of life, how important it is. Hey, everybody can live flashy, but that's only going to last so long when the lights is off, unless you got the money to have solar, unless you know how to live like the Amish. This is real deal Holyfield. This is real deal Holyfield. Okay? So, let us continue here. He left vine dressers and husbandmen. This is important in a time of famine. You think it's easier just putting a seed in the ground and letting it grow. But when you have modern day agriculture farming with the soil messed up, or you just try to go to some new soil that's not prepped or have been dressed over the years, you have to know if the ground wants to even receive that, and is it going to be fertile? It's how deep it is, right? So we're going to talk about how important it is. Some people think, man, I got me a garden. Everything it may be ready for you already, but do you know how to really get it out the mud? We're going to show you tonight so that you cannot have an excuse to say you don't know. We're going to give you some resources to go to show you things you can do and how important it is, and how the Most High actually gave us everything. The Most High is so perfect. It really didn't take money once you made that initial investment in some livestock, whether it's starting with chickens, whether it's starting with quail, doves, whatever the case may be. Once these things start to excrete, whatever they need to comfort themselves, their dung and their urine, which is nitrogen, scientifically, these things are creating your natural bioavailable fertilizer. Instead of you having to go and buy some called organic commercial fertilizer, which is not bad, but we're talking long-term nutrition, not fast-paced production, unless you're just doing that on the side and you're not really doing it for nutrition. Producing mass production does not mean nutrition, guys. A plant coming out of the ground does not equate automatically to nutrition. That's what people, I think, are confused at. Okay? So it's almost like taking a pharmaceutical drug compared to a herb, which takes more time to hit the body, if the body is able to actually metabolize it in the parasites or not taking it from the person, which we're going to talk about. So let's go to a few videos here to show you what we're talking about, because I wanted to show you how important it was when we were carried away to Babylon and the famine came, how important the vine dressers and the husbandmen were. To have your grapes on the vine, whatever grew on the vine, to have your husbandmen deal with the garden and things that were necessary for our bodies. to be nurtured. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me get one more scripture before we go ahead. Proverbs 30 and 25. People could talk all they want to, but hey, and this is what I notice. A lot of people get on YouTube and watch things. YouTube can only take you so far. Even if people are doing it, you have to get out there and actually do it. You have to get out there and do it. You can't let another person tell you you need to do it this way and do it that way. That's a lot of good wisdom. But until you get on there, depending on what type of breed of animal you have, whatever type of genetics, whatever type of soil you have, whatever type of water you have coming out your ground, all of these things matter. Whatever type of time you have on your hands, whatever type of finances you have on your hands, all of how often do you have to travel if you have a farm? All of these things matter. People can tell you, do this, take this type of feed. Oh, get this type of hay. Hey, it may not be around your area. You want to get what this person told you is $100 more. Can you afford that long term? We have to learn how to take what the Most High have given us and learn how to truly get it out the mud. I'm going to show you, like, it's like in a regenerative farming method, because you can do both. I mean, you can, if you know how to do cover crops and things like that, you can mold that stuff back down and put that back in the ground, because there was tilling in the Bible, guys. But the soil had become so bad in a lot of areas with this commercial farming. I mean, the food we're getting from the store is really not nutrient dense for us anymore. So to a certain degree, even if we're buying from the store, we want to be trying to get some of this stuff out of our garden, some of these things that are natural, some raw milk, excuse me, not raw meat, some, of our own animals, so we can get proper nutrition. We know what we're feeding them. We know what we're putting in our ground. Very, very, very important. And the ants are an example in Proverbs 30 and 25, really quick. Check it out. For people who make excuses. Like Christ said, man, come and follow me. Oh, man, I got to go do these. Like, man, let the dead bury the dead. Those people, they run the mischief already. He wasn't telling you couldn't bury your people, but he's like, listen, these people are crab in the bucket mentality. They're going to bring each other down. You mean to tell me you got to make an excuse to go and deal with all of these people, and before you know it, they be to killed you, put you in the grave where you can't come follow me. Right? So look at the ants. Let's see. Verse 24, we're at Proverbs 30 and 24. There be 4 things which are little upon the earth. Now I want to focus on the ants here. But they are exceeding wise. They don't have a college degree. Ants don't have a college degree. They got common sense. They have what the Creator put in them. Survival, sustenance. The ants are a people not strong. Right? But what do the ants have? They work together. One mind for the queen. I was joking around with my children the other day. I said, do you respect the ants? They were like, no. You little black kids, you ask them, do you? I know why they said no, because the ants be biting us. So, and the kids' mind's the first thing. But I'm like, no. I said, well, Daddy respects the ants because I can walk a path and see, you understand, a flat ground, come back out on the grass, and I see a whole ant hill in 2 days. So I said, Daddy respects the ants. You got some people who can see that from the creation of the Most High and cannot actually even, think about doing such work. No excuses. The ants are not strong. You could pick thousands of ants up and they won't have no weight to them. Huh? But they manage to use their little small, minute, tiny brains to do something that a man of the Most High with no faith can do. Yet they prepare their meat in the summer. The conies are but a feeble folk, yet they make their houses in the rocks. Huh? The locusts have no kings, Huh? Yet they go forth, all of them by the bands. So you have all of these types of animals, like birds make their nests. I mean, when you see a bird high weaves a nest, man, you got to respect the creation of the Most High. The spider taketh hold with her hands in the palaces. You see the hogs digging holes. You see the rabbits digging holes. The gophers and the beavers and the groundhogs doing whatever they need to do to survive. And because we're in captivity, we think that our captors would always want to continue to do such a thing. No, it was an end to this, and they knew it. We think it's like in Egypt. When you read in the book of Josephus, the Most High said, I wanted to know whether you want to be homeborn slaves, or would you rather be free and go through a little bit before you got into the land of Israel? This is in the Josephus. I read it to you guys before. We should never have the mindset to eat from our enemies' hands forever because we were in captivity. We should want to make the next generation better now. Thank the Most High that we're at the last of this. We're the last of this generation where, this captivity where we're at the last of this captivity where the Most High is going to free our people, but we have to already be in that mindset. Okay? So let's go into a few videos here to show you health-wise why it's so important to do things the Most High's way. First, I'm going to show you what these little critters in our body can do and why it's so important to garden the Most High's way, because we can use commercial fertilizers and things like that, get things from the stores that are sprayed with all types of stuff, and obviously all of us are going to have to get some of these things. Yeah, I have to soak all of my stuff in chlorine dioxide just to make sure there's no sprays, bad bacterias, pollutions. Even if it says organic, I'm soaking that thing in baking soda or chlorine dioxide or vinegar, whatever the case may be, right? Sorry, my nose is itching. I don't know why. But the whole deal is, if we do things the Most High's way, we don't have to worry about that. So check this video out really quick. Breaking down biofilms really quick with Dr. Chris. 1 second. I want to show you this really quick. Turn the volume on. This is fair use for educational purposes only. We talk about parasites a lot, and the whole deal is a lot of people try to over parasite cleanse, but it comes a time where you have to actually try to eat a diet that's from a regenerative farming style method, starting with basic planting first, but eventually giving that garden some time to really grow its bacteria up and its fungal network up. This is where real health comes from, because our gut is made the exact same way. So check my guy out real quick.
Biofilms, depending on the microbe, they will take the calcium in our body from your bones, osteoporosis, they'll take your iron, they'll take your magnesium. Literally, these microbes will take those, absorb them, and make a plaster, like on the wall. And then they get behind the plaster.
Basically, they create a protective shield around themselves.
Yes, and it's ingenious. Like, they have that on the walls. They hide behind it. You take an antibiotic runs right past them. They're okay. They're fine. When you stop taking the antibiotic, they come right back out. And they say that that plaster is like the coral reefs of the sea. They say they build them up. And if you have one in your gut, you could have them in your lungs. You could have them in your brain. And they say there's a quorum, like a communication. So if you take an herb, they say through the actual plaster, they can send a little signal down and say, something's coming down the pipe. You got to get ready, get behind.
Okay. And explain what biofilm.
Now, the reason I wanted to bring this out is because it's not all about just killing parasites so much. We need to do that. We need to parasite cleanse every 3 to 6 months, depending on each person's situation. We need to detox from heavy metals and things like that. But it's not always about you just constantly like overboard detoxing, or you're just going to kill your bacteria in your gut off and nothing's going to be able to fight for you. It's about realizing how the Most High made us and where we come from. The soil. This is where everything comes from. The clothes I have on linen right now. If you have on cotton, it all comes from the soil. Everything comes out of this thing. If everything is coming out of this soil, if we come out of it, wouldn't this be one of the most important things we want to take care of? Not shortcut it with garbage. This is where our water is coming from out of there. All that. This is where our minerals are coming from. Huh? And you need a balance. You need good and you need a bad balance, unfortunately. Like if you look in Africa, where the animals are, you have the gazelles. You need predators for the prey. Huh? You need predators to prey upon the prey. That's just how it goes. It's a balance. What do they say on Lion King? A circle of life, right? You know what I mean? So this is very important, even in the bacteria and fungal world. You got nematodes and things like that will come and eat some of the bacteria. But if you have too much nematodes, you're going to have a garden issue, right? So feeding the soil, or shall I say feeding the bacteria in the soil, is one of the most important things of how we get our nutrition. How we get our nutrition. It's not about getting a bunch of fertilizer and keep pouring fertilizer. If you have a stunted tree, for example, tree that's been hit by freeze, hit by lack of watering, lack of just shock on every level. I had to learn the hard way that it's not about continuing to just give it fertilizer. Sometimes you got to let this thing relax, get the minerals, and get the bacteria going again. And then it will get itself back on track. This is the same way of the body. If you give the body what it needs and you eat the way it's supposed that you're supposed to eat, in time, a lot of things will heal. Without exercise, it's going to be very hard. I'm not going to even lie to you. Without impact or plyometrics at some capacity or some type of landing. That's why I tell you guys a lot about jumping jacks. I don't care how big you have gotten, overweight you have gotten. Start some type of jumping. It's very important for longevity of life. I don't care if you've been eating good and you just start just to do a little bit and just grow from there. I mean, I'm going to tell you, even though I've never gotten obese, I remember when I messed my ankle up, it wasn't as easy to get my abs back. My ankle kept tightening up, scar tissue, fascia, all these things tightening up. So it was very hard to really just jump without my ankle tightening up, feeling weak. It took me a few years to get back to that. Straight up. And I studied this stuff for years. Like when it comes to impact, telling your body you still need to have impact, like jumping and landing, catching things, like just catching something. For example, catching that, you give your body, you keep your body's defense mechanism very strong. But just relaxing too much, not getting sunlight, being on the computer, not doing anything, not getting outside, not allowing your body to be taken over by the Most High's creation in general, the sun, the bacteria, the air, whatever the case may be. Let me tell you, you're telling your body it's time to go. Sitting on the computer all day or watching TV or not doing anything, not squatting, not bending down, not bending your lower back in the garden. I'm going to tell you, there's sometimes I'm in the garden, guys, where when we were planting that corn, we were planting, some of that corn. Sometimes you got hundreds of corn to plant. You have to squat every time to put that thing down. You have to do a stiff leg or a deadlift to do it. Ain't no need to go to the gym after you did all that. Your legs is going to be sore the next day, trust me. And I'm talking about planting hundreds of corn. let me tell you, you done did hundreds of squats. So in this garden, it solves a lot of issues of why the sisters back in the day were gathering water. Everything the Most High was doing was showing us it's exercise. Everything you needed, you worked for it to keep you healthy after these curses. Everything, not that Adam didn't have to work. Adam still had to work, but definitely after this, you had to work for everything. Grinding wheat, man, they were grinding wheat. Man, the forearms had to be straight strong, taking that, you understand, they had the big stone mortar and pestle type things. Grinding, it's like, man, do you know how long it took to make bread back then? If it wasn't from a giant millstone, this is how it came for food. I mean, winnowing the wheat and all types of things to where you let the wind take off the the outer layer of the kernels and things like that. It is real. We think, let me tell you, we think it's all good. So if you ain't saved enough food and you don't know how to do this, I'm gonna tell you right now, you might get a little practice on to save more than enough food, because it's not what you think. It's not what you think, just grabbing some animals, just taking care of them so easy. It's not that easy. You're going to have to put some work in, guys. Waking up 5 a.m. to milk your animals, to make sure that the baby she's milking has enough milk too. It's real in the field. And people are doing it. Like, I watch Esau out here. There's a company out here called Major Farms. Shout out to Major Farms out here in Houston, Texas, where we get our raw milk from. I mean, they wake up and still go to work. But now they've gotten to the point where they hire somebody to do these things for them, because they've gotten so many beautiful customers. But it takes work. So first, I wanted to start off with these little parasites and how when a body is not getting dense food, they take over the body. When the body is not exercising, they take over the body. Right? So getting that good food that we know what we put in that ground. Let me tell you, all that sheep bedding, that chicken bedding, if you compost it and do what you need to do, and even if you don't compost it and you layer it around, it's so many things you could do. You could put it in the walkways while it rains and it just slowly breaks down. You can put it around the plant, not right around the root zone, but it will break down and it will naturally give it compost tea. It's so many different ways to do this. But the Most High have given us everything we need. That's all I'm saying. So I want to get, some more examples here. And I can't tell you, man, we have so much to learn in these areas, and we will never not. Let me get another expert here. Kelly Moss, All Things Wild. That's her page if you want to know it. Fair use, educational purposes only.
Once you've seen soil under a microscope, it changes the way that you treat it. Soil should be treated as if it's alive, because that is exactly what it is, a living ecosystem. These tiny microbes are the foundation of all terrestrial ecosystems, and there's more of them in just one spoonful of healthy soil than there are people on Earth. They were the original fertilizers and plant defense before the chemicals.
You hear that? They were the original defense before chemicals, the scientific revolutions. We are made up of more microbes than anything. Microbes are all, man, it's almost like they're like minute little angels. It's just a different world. You got minute little demonic parasites, and you got minute little microscopic organisms that are good. Pay attention.
Soils are full of minerals that are tied up that are unavailable to plants, and microbes can unlock it with their chemical wizardry. They hold it in their bodies like millions of tiny sacs of fertilizer, releasing the nutrients in plant-available portions continuously through the...
Plant available portions. They take their enzymes from them. They take the enzymes. They help to break these things down. No different than when you put your beans or your grain, you got to soak them to take out some of that phytic acid and things like that. Well, we don't care about what. See, this is the thing. We don't care about the little small stuff they're saying. This is just how Edom expresses things. You know, they gonna say wizardry. And let me teach you something about being a Hebrew. You eat the meat and you spit out the bones. You don't want to. If you become a Hebrew and you focus on every little small thing, you're just never gonna learn. So we don't want to stop the class from her saying wizardry. Oh my goodness, she said wizard. Right, so let's just focus on what we got here because you don't want to miss the big picture. All right, I know you're joking around, but let's focus.
Soul food web. They break down toxins like glyphosate, petrochemicals, and even immobilize heavy metals.
What did she say? These pro-bacteria, probiotic, pro-fungus, they break down toxins like glyphosate, petrochemicals, things that this petroleum, this pollution that's coming out in the air when cars are driving by. These heavy metals, aluminum, strontium, barium, graphene oxide that's coming down from the planes that they spray, all of these chemicals. If you have a garden that's more so regenerative, covered, because the ground is like the skin. If you just leave the skin dry, it's going to become too ashy. If you feed it with shea butter, you feed it with coconut oil, olive oil, or you got a mixture of some of these good things, but you're covering the skin with things that feed the skin, your lactobacillus is protected. It delivers these minerals and nutrients to help the body. It's the microbes on our skin that's doing it. If you put alcohol on your body too much, things that kills the skin, you are killing your lactobacillus and your living microscopic organisms that help your body. I'm telling you the truth. Why you think when you put on things like yogurt and all these things that is helping your face? Because it's living. Honey, enzymes in honey, it's living. So before the chemtrails can even come down to the root zone, the wood chip fungus is going to eat the heavy metals. The candida inside of the wood chips is going to eat the heavy metals. See, you thought I was a novice at this. I'm never not learning, but this I know. If you have a garden that's no-tilled, and eventually sometime when you first start gardening, you can't have a no-till in the beginning. Some of the soil is going to be worked, but eventually on some of your garden, maybe not all, you know, if you can get all of your garden eventually be no-till, man, you put some work in, because it's not that easy. And sometimes it takes, 1 to 10 years. I would say minimum 1 to 3 to 4, depending on your soil, to get it to that. We're going to talk about that tonight. But look how powerful these things the Most High created that Satan and his minions and these governments want to control and destroy. With commercial fertilizers, you're just killing off life. Food is growing, but without bioavailable vitamins and minerals. The probacteria here, it's their job to unlock it and to give you just enough. These plants need minute amount of this, not even as much as you think. But if the life is destroyed, how is the plant getting nutrition? That's why you see some plants just sitting still and not growing. And you go out there and you put a little molasses in the soil. Because see, the sugars that come from the plants is supposed to go on the ground through photosynthesis and feed the soil. No different than you put molasses. It's almost like wine when you're making wine. The grapes already have the sugar. If they don't have enough sugar, you put a little sugar in there, and then you're feeding the alcohol. See? You're feeding it with it's going to create yeast, and the alcohol is going to protect it from going bad. very similar to the soil. It's like a shortcut when you add a little molasses. You're feeding the microbes. You're feeding the microbes so they can eventually break whatever nutrition down to feed the plants. And eventually they want to form a whole network, a fungal network. And when you got soil like that, that's why you have things like Korean natural forming. They would go take a tree that been there 1,000 years, go take some of the leaves or whatever from it, because there's all type of fungus and bacteria on the leaves, the bark, around the soil around it, and you bring it back to your garden and manipulate it to where you make your whole garden be a whole defense network against pests, against all types of toxins and everything. Let me tell you, this gets deep. This is like how the doughboys come in the hood and set up shop. They get the birds and they put the drug dealers on the block and they move and work. But nah, we don't want that. We want something that's gonna make us live. This is how the plant world move. You bring that Korean natural forming soil to where you gardening at, and let the power happen. I'm not gonna say let the magic happen. Let the power happen. Now it's gonna take some time. But this is how it goes. This is real life. We're made up of more microorganisms than anything else. Facts.
They also suppress disease, translocate water, make plant growth hormones, synthesize amino acids, and increase plant immunity.
All for free. All for free. As long as you're willing to put the work in for a certain, yeah. So let me give you another video here about the soil. About the soil. You're going to check this one out. If you want to subscribe to his page, it's called Sunnyside Soil. Now, I want you to pay attention to him because I know Esau, when it comes to attention span, some people may think that it's a little boring, but I really want you to pay attention to what this brother is saying because he's dropping some really good information. He's not just a YouTuber who just started gardening and really just trying to get some views. Like, he actually knows his stuff, okay? Feeding the plants versus feeding the soil. You have a lot of garbage out there on YouTube, and it's not about who can explain the best, but this is very important because this is when the Most High said, you came from the soil. Our gut is similar to what's in the soil, bacteria. I mean, the bacteria that's in the soil and the fungus. Facts. So just pay attention to this very quickly. Fair use for educational purposes only. Check it out.
What the NPK of my worm castings are. But what if I told you that pouring NPK fertilizer on your garden is kind of like trying to feed yourself with nothing but vitamin pills? Sure, you might survive for a while, but you're missing the whole feast. Here's the thing most gardeners don't realize. Your plants don't actually eat NPK. They eat what comes out of billions of living organisms in your soil. And when you understand this fundamental difference, everything about how you grow food changes. I'm Sunny with Sunnyside Soil, and today we're going deep into the soil food web, the underground ecosystem that's been feeding plants for 450 million years or so, long before humans invented.
Now, obviously, the brother don't know what we know of time. But he knows he's basically saying, if you could take what he's saying, is that since before the scientific revolution, the way gardening is recycling what the animals put out. And that's why people were living much longer. Check it out.
Synthetic fertilizers. By the end of this video, you'll understand why feeding your soil organisms is infinitely more powerful than feeding your plants directly.
I'm going to give you an example really quick. If you've ever planted a garden for the first year in new soil, the increase it can be good, it can be fair, But the longer that soil gets to sit, it becomes more living because it adapts to the ecosystem, the environment around it. You'll see year 2, year 3, your increase is more and more because now you got worms, you got arthropods, and all types of nematodes and bacteria, whether good or bad, coming in that thing, and it's becoming living. So this is why that happens. This is why compost tea works well. This is why lactic acid bacteria works well, things like that, right? This is why compost works.
So let's start with what we've been taught. NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are the 3 big nutrients. Walk into any garden center and that's what you'll see. 10, 10, 10, 5, 10, 5. Numbers that promise to solve all of your problems. Now, don't get me wrong, plants absolutely need these nutrients. But here's the critical misunderstanding that's been sold to gardeners for over a century. NPK is only 3 of the 17 essential elements that plants need to complete their life cycle. Plants need 3 secondary nutrients: calcium, magnesium, and sulfur.
Some people said, can we put different types of fertilizer in our soil? I don't know if you're just coming on, but this show is really promoting trying to not use fertilizer unless you just have to. Okay, a lot of people will use ash for potassium, okay, phosphorus, coffee grounds for nitrogen, banana peels, things like that, even food scraps, because this is going to teach you to feed the soil. I remember Deacon Nate's wife when we were in Egypt. She had a little plant that would be on the outside of her house, and she would put little food scraps, she would cover it with food scraps, and that plant flourished so much. She didn't put no fertilizer, right? And I'm not saying that you guys can't use fertilizer. That's not what I'm saying. If you're going to get a fertilizer, I prefer you get something called like Microlife, because it's based off of the same type of thing we're talking about right now. Okay, it actually has the proper, it actually has everything we're talking about, fungi and everything in there. And see, it looks like that. You could just go to Microlife. I don't know if they have a website or whatever, but Microlife, it really is all about bacteria is what I'm saying, okay? So let's get back to it. But use fertilizer for right now if you're a beginner. But you're going to go through your growing pains, your learning, and you're going to see for long-term healthy garden, even when things shut down and there's no fertilizer. If you can only garden, if you have fertilizer over time, I hope you store it up. But I'm going to tell you, long-term, your soil is going to be weak. Your microbial level in your soil is going to be real weak. I'm just telling you. It's like a man who he can't produce testosterone anymore, so he's going to go get testosterone from the doctor, a shot. But when the system falls, he can't go get those shots anymore. So his body can't produce testosterone anymore. So you don't want to weaken the ground so much to where, hey, if you don't have no fertilizer, your plants in your garden is not going to grow well. So just think about it.
Quantities that are sometimes larger than phosphorus or potassium. Ask any tomato grower that's gotten end rot and they'll absolutely tell you that calcium is extremely important. According to research from the Mississippi State University Extension and the Mosaic Crop Nutrition, modern high-yielding crops actually remove more calcium, magnesium, and sulfur from the soil than ever before. Yet these nutrients are completely absent from most fertilizer programs. Let me give you some perspective. Calcium is the 3rd most abundant nutrient in plants. It's essential for cell wall structure, hormone regulation, and root development. Without adequate calcium, you get blossom end rot in tomatoes, hollow heart in potatoes, and weak plant stems that collapse under their own weight. Magnesium is literally the central atom in every chlorophyll molecule. That's the molecule that makes photosynthesis possible. Research published in multiple agricultural journals confirms that magnesium deficiencies prevents plants from utilizing nitrogen and phosphorus effectively, no matter how much NPK you dump on it. And sulfur? Well, sulfur is a building block of amino acids and proteins. According to Ohio State University research, plants need approximately 1 pound of sulfur for every 10 pounds of nitrogen. Yet sulfur levels in soils have plummeted since the 1980s. Then there are the 8.
Do you hear that? Why do you think we have to take MSM? Our bodies are made up of sulfur as well. It's lacking in the soil. I'm telling y'all. Copper, #1 missing thing. Magnesium, #2. He's telling you all of this stuff right here. He's going to tell you why. Because we're using too much artificial stuff. Now, you can get away with it in some situations. Like I said, if you got a business and you need high, fast production, that's for another situation. But if you need a long-term garden, and that garden is like, okay, I'm working that garden for a certain. If I had a garden I want to use for years, the first thing I'm doing is dumping cardboard on the ground, thick. Okay? Or covering it with so much mulch, letting it sit for a few years, and then I'm coming over there to planting it. Yeah.
Micronutrients: iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, chloride, and nickel. Yes, plants need these in tiny amounts as well. We're talking parts per million. But according to research from Sound Agriculture,
small amounts of fertilizer, not a lot. Now, when you're dealing with fruit trees, it's a little different. The bigger your fruit tree, the more fertilizer you're going to put. But eventually, a tree, there's some trees out there like, man, they used to have this lemon tree. Nobody watered it. Nobody fed it, nothing. Producing lemons. It's finally found its way into the ground and get its own minerals. And that's what we eventually want is what I'm saying. Okay? To where all you got to do is dump compost on top of it to mulch it, leaves, whatever, like the forest. And all of that stuff is mostly bacteria, worms, arthropods breaking it down, making tunnels, networks, and all that. And guess what? The leaves fall again, and it's just adding again. The Most High is already doing it. The leaves fall. The worms dig tunnels, leave their worm castings, one of the most best fertilizers you can get. Okay, the worm castings, right? And all of the things are breaking down, and then it needs more. That's how this thing works.
And Iowa State University, a deficiency in even one of these can completely collapse your yields. Here's why. Micronutrients are the catalyst that make everything else work. Research shows that
it's about quality, not quantity. The way the Most High did it, feeding the soil microbes, not just feeding the soil microbes. They are going to deliver everything in its proper amounts to the plants. It's not about, oh, man, it needs potassium. Let me put so much more. It needs a minute amount. So that shows we have more than enough when these animals are done. Put that thing in a dung hill or compost pile. Let that thing break down. Every year it's time for a new garden. Put you a little thin layer of compost on top. You know, and of course there's going to be other issues you have to address, pests and things. It's not one size fits all, but the more you introduce good bacteria to the soil, the more the plants can fend for themselves.
Approximately 1/4 to 1/3 of all proteins in a plant require metal ions to function. These aren't optional. They're the spark plugs of plant metabolism. Here's an example. Iron activates the enzyme that creates chlorophyll. Without it, you can dump nitrogen on your plants all day long and they'll still be yellow because they can't make the machinery to use it. Zinc is estimated to be in over 1,200 different proteins in plants and is the most commonly deficient micronutrient worldwide.
Look at that. We think just because you put a plant in the ground, it has all of this stuff. No, it don't work like that. Chicken poop got copper in it, but it has to break down and you got to let the microbes do their thing. It's a perfect system we have to get back to is all I'm saying while I'm putting this show out there. It's going to take time. But when if you ain't ready to plant just yet, go have somebody dump a bunch of wood chips on this area, cardboard, whatever the case may be. And guess what? Get ready for that ground to do its thing.
It's essential for growth hormones, enzyme systems, and carbohydrate formation. Boron is the bus that carries calcium into plants. Without adequate boron, you can have plenty of calcium in your soil, but the plant can't access it. Boron is also critical for pollen germination and cell wall development. Molybdenum is required for nitrogen.
And it's not about going and get all these minerals and putting them in your soil. It's when you got old food scraps and animal stuff, let me tell you, all of this stuff is already in there. And if it's in the ground, if you got the network and the system right, it's going to pull it from wherever it's coming from.
Fixation. Plants can't convert nitrate to usable proteins without it. Manganese is essential for photosynthesis, nitrogen assimilation, and respiration. According to research from Omics Canada, molybdenum deficiency reduces nitrogen and phosphorus uptake, while zinc deficiency reduces overall vigor and the uptake of other nutrients. Now, these aren't just isolated problems. They cascade through the entire plant system. Now, here's where it gets really interesting and really complicated. Nutrients don't work in isolation. They interact with each other in ways that no NPK bag can account for. Research from Iowa State University shows that high phosphorus levels can induce deficiencies in copper, zinc, iron, and manganese.
When you just pour too much of one nutrient down your plant or yourself, you're going to make it to where you have too much of one thing and you're going to take away from the rest of the things you're taking. And the same thing happens with the soil. Some people hear, oh man, I need this. And they just start taking a whole bunch of it. And now they're making a whole imbalance in their body instead of just slow pace consistency. Same thing for the garden.
Potassium can trigger boron deficiencies. High calcium levels can reduce magnesium availability and vice versa. This is why synthetic fertilizer programs often create more problems than they solve. You add high phosphorus fertilizer, which locks up the zinc. Plants become zinc deficient, which reduces their ability to use nitrogen. So you add more nitrogen.
He's trying to tell you guys, it's not about dumping a bunch of fertilizer. You have to really feed the ground. Like I said, compost. It's really organic matter that's going to fix your issue. Organic matter,
which creates more metabolic demand for magnesium. But you haven't added any magnesium, so now you have a magnesium deficiency, preventing chlorophyll formation. Do you see the spiral? But in natural ecosystems, plants don't absorb nutrients from bags. They get them from a complex network of organisms that mine, transform, and deliver nutrients in balanced ratios. In exchange for
deliver nutrients in balanced ratios. The organisms will do all the work if we feed the organisms. They will break the food down, break everything down, right? You can add compost, which will allow thousands upon thousands of microorganisms in your soil. This is the way to go long term. Now, short term, do what you got to do, but I'm just telling you, this is long term nutrition here for our gut.
Something that the plant produces, exudates. Think of it this way. NPK fertilizers are like taking 3 vitamin supplements and calling it a complete diet. Quick response, sure, but zero nutritional complexity. The soil food web? Well, that's the farm-to-table meal prepared by thousands of specialized chefs, each contributing unique nutrients, enzymes, hormones, and compounds in the exact proportions and forms that plants evolved to receive. According to Dr. Elaine Ingham's soil
in your body, why we told people to eat some type of probiotic living things, raw milk, kefir, you understand, what do you call that? Sauerkraut, whatever the case may be. These probiotics and enzymes help you to absorb things in your gut. Same thing like the soil, guys. This is important to feed the gut, feed the soil. Okay? This is the way the Most High did it. And so they're giving us everything. You got red dye, blue dye, you got blue chips, red hot Cheeto chips, red Kool-Aid. That's killing off of our good bacteria. Right? We need the fiber, okay, to feed our gut, probiotics, right? And then we have a system constantly going. Very similar to this. If you're feeding a compost pile, nitrogen and carbon, it's going to heat it up, okay? And these, like I said, all of these microorganisms, worms, whatever the case may be, spiders, all of these different things, they all have their own job there to break it down into soil.
Food web research, plants produce simple sugars through photosynthesis, and they inject 30 to 40% of those sugars into the soil deliberately to feed bacteria and fungi.
Listen.
This isn't waste, it's an investment strategy that's been perfected over 450 million years. Plants are literally farming their own nutrient providers underground. Let me introduce you to the cast of characters living in every handful of healthy soil. At the foundation, we have bacteria and fungi, the original nutrient miners. Research published in the Soil Food Web School documentation shows that bacteria and fungi produce enzymes that break down organic matter and crystalline structures in rocks, sand, and clay particles. These parent materials contain iron, boron, phosphorus, calcium, potassium that were all locked up into forms plants can't access directly.
These microorganisms break it all down so that the plants can now access it and give them exactly what they need. Not too much, not too less. Check that out. So let me tell you, it's about feeding the soil. Not robbing the soil. They made it to where they get through with a little shortcut like a pharmaceutical, get in that joint, and before you know, you're robbed of a bunch of minerals. Oh, man, you liking this. Take this. See what I'm saying?
But bacteria and fungi, well, they're the chemical wizards. They release enzymes that dissolve these structures, absorbing nutrients into their own bodies. A single gram of healthy soil can contain 4 to 5 billion bacteria and several hundred meters of fungal hyphae. Now, here's where it gets interesting. These nutrients are now locked inside the microbial bodies. How do they get to their plants? Enter the predators, protozoa and nematodes. These microscopic organisms graze on bacteria and fungi, well, like cattle grazing on grass. But here's the magic. Bacteria and fungi have a carbon to nitrogen ratio of 4 to 1, while bacteriovorous nematodes, they have a ratio of about 5.9 to 1, according to research from UC Davis. Well, great, Sonny, thanks for all the numbers, but what does this actually mean? When a nematode eats bacteria, it's consuming more nitrogen than it needs for its body structure. That excess nitrogen, well, it's excreted as ammonia, plant-available nitrogen, directly into the root zone. Research published in scientific reports have demonstrated that nematodes can contribute 8 to 19% of total nitrogen mineralization in soil annually. A study in New Phytologist found that protozoa and bacteriovorous nematodes together contribute approximately 30% of total net nitrogen mineralization in many ecosystems. But they don't just cycle nitrogen. Research from 2016 showed that the presence of nematodes increased net phosphorus availability by 23%. And this was the entire nematode community working together, not just one species. Now I can see yourself asking, but Sonny, I thought that nematodes only caused problems for gardeners. Well, those are the root-feeding nematodes. There are many different species of nematodes, including bacterial-feeding nematodes, fungi-feeding nematodes, and predatory nematodes. Now we need to talk about the most important symbiosis in terrestrial ecosystems.
Check it out.
Mycorrhizal fungi. These fungi form relationships with about 80 to 90% of all land plant species, including most of your garden vegetables. Here's how it works. The fungus grows inside and around plant roots, forming specialized structures called arbuscules, kind of like little tree-like exchange sites. Research published in PLOS ONE and multiple studies in New Phytologists show that plants can receive up to 70% of their phosphorus and more than 40% of their nitrogen through this mycorrhizal pathway.
Do you hear that? Are you paying attention? These microscopic things, fungi and all that, can give the plant more than what it needs if it has this system in its order. The fungi will travel and make tunnels to pull nutrients from the ground and actually even give the plant water, creating like a whole wiring system underground for the plants. We have to bring the husbandman skills back in this form, because it was a no waste type of garden.
Now in exchange, plants allocate 20 to 40% of their photosynthetically produced carbons to feed this fungus. Now this might sound expensive, but consider what the plant gets in return. Access to
it. How do we know it feeds the fungus? What happens when you have a bunch of wood chips? You see mushrooms. When leaves are falling, when bark is falling, wood chips and all of that, wood logs, it's creating a fungal network because the fungus is what's going to eat the wood to break it down. And that carbon is going to help this whole situation here.
Phosphorus and nitrogen that would otherwise be completely unavailable.
I know some people probably think, well, I just put a seed in the ground and grow it. It's deeper than that. We are wise people. We just have to come back to our wisdom. This is more simple than you think. Yeah, Esau is breaking it down in a scientific manner, but it's really simple. Take what your animals excrete, put it in the pile when you're cleaning their pens. Everything is in there for you already. Let it break down into compost. And if you don't want to let it break down into compost, okay, put it along the walkways. Put it around the plants and let it break down when it rains. It will feed the plant. Either way, it will do it. Now, you just can't mix it with the soil until it's done breaking down, but you can put it around like a mulch, just not on the root zone so it won't burn the roots. But this is how it's done. It's no order when the leaves are falling from the trees. They just fall wherever they're going to fall. And it creates all types of bacteria and fungus all around. Leaves, man, amazing for this. That's why I tell my mom when she got her little leaves from my oak tree, hey, mama, save me them leaves. I'm finna bring them, put them in the chicken coop. The chicken's going to break them down and create a beautiful soil. They're going to create a beautiful soil. The hay bedding, put it in a compost pile. You got the carbon and the nitrogen from their poop and their urine. It's going to create a beautiful soil. Let it rain. If you let it rain, you're going to see straight compost tea just coming out of that. Everything is already here for us. You just got to be a little patient with this type of garden. If you want a quick garden, then okay, cool. You good. I'm not saying it's a sin to do it. I'm talking about long-term nutrition tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Thus enhance drought resistance, disease suppression, and connection to a common mycorrhizal network that can span entire forests. According to recent research from the University of Florida IFAS Extension, mycorrhizal fungi also secretes glomalin, a glue-like compound that binds soil particles into aggregates, literally building soil structure while extracting nutrients. And these are just the major players. There are also predatory nematodes that eat other nematodes, microarthropods, earthworms that process organic matter and stimulate microbial activity, and countless other organisms that, well, we're still discovering. Research in Frontiers in Microbiology found that these organisms don't work in isolation. They form complex co-occurrence networks where bacterial and fungal diversity interacts synergistically to enhance nutrient cycling. The complexities of these networks is directly linked to your soil health. So now that you know the players, let's talk about how this underground economy actually functions. Enter the rhizosphere, the narrow region of soil directly around roots. It's where the magic happens. According to Soil Biology Primer, this zone is teeming with bacteria that is feeding on sloughed off plant cells and the proteins and sugars released by the...
So I'm going to have to show the rest of it next week because I don't want to be on because it's a lot to break down. It's a lot to break down, but we need to break it down because the soil is very important. I'm also going to show you how to transform clay soil. If you have clay soil, I'm going to show you how to transform some clay soil, because this gentleman here, he will explain to you about how all of the minerals and nutrients are in clay soil more than everything else. But you have to transform it. And if you can transform that clay soil, you'll have some of the best soil in the world. It holds water. It holds a bunch of minerals. It's just the way that clay soil is. It doesn't have a good drainage system. So if you're patient with it, that's some of the best soil if you work with it and you're patient. So I'm going to show that next week. Okay. But I'll open up the lines really quick if anyone has any questions about tonight, what we've studied so far. But I'm going to go into next week. I'm going to finish this video next week, feeding the plants versus feeding the soil. And then we're going to talk about how to transform just whack soils into something that will bring you a plethora of successful vegetables, okay? And I know that's going to be helpful for a lot of people, because lots of people, they just think, I'm just going to put fertilizer in the soil. No. We're going to show you how to do that, okay? So really quick, I'll open up the calls really quick, but and we want to keep it on the lesson. That's the number there. 979-398-5875. But until then, that if we have any callers, I'm just going to show you what we've been doing on the homestead. So like I said, we'll come back to this video next week, but I'm going to show you what we've been doing on the homestead. Okay. And I watch Humble Servants Homestead all the time, man, with the brother Mike and his wife Tabitha. They be putting in that work out there. They got it going on, showing people why it's so important to grow food. You know what I mean? So we have a caller here. 1 second. We have an 813 call area code. Who's calling? This is who? Virtue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed, trying to get this information out to the brothers and sisters, because it's a very important topic, but it's not the most famous topic, but it's the topic of reality of where we are right now, and where we should have been a long time ago. But we're here today. What do you have for us tonight?
But the majority of my plants, they're in pots.
Okay.
So it's not in the ground where it could welcome all of the little creatures that you were speaking of.
Okay.
So what can I do to attract the creatures into my pots, or what can I add in my pots other than, the scraps, the food, and so forth?
Well,
what advice do you have?
Well, believe it or not, have you looked in your soil to see if you with a magnifying glass or something to see if they're in there? They may be in there, because they can come through the little holes at the bottom. If you're putting food scraps and things in there, there's definitely, if it's breaking down, something in there is breaking it down. Now, to answer your question though, if you feel like it's not in there, you just go and buy you some worms. Go and find you some worms, or you can take the little stick and start rattling it in the ground. The worms that come up out the ground. But you can just buy some worms from Amazon. You can buy just different types of worms from Amazon. You can buy worm castings. You can also buy microbes of fungi and actually add to each of your pots. And don't pay. You don't have to overpay for that. I mean, it can be expensive from certain areas. It's okay. So yeah, You can just get some of those things like mycorrhiza fungi off of Amazon, or some worms or worm castings, and just continue to do it like that. I mean, you can also dress, if you have a big enough pot, dress the top of your pot with a little mulch of I wouldn't put chicken mulch, because chicken mulch has to be compost, but like I, I once saw a gardener in Egypt. She would dress all of her container pots with cow dung, horse dung, donkey dung, and when it dries out, it becomes more like more carbon, and dried out, dehydrated. So she dressed all of her pots like that, and that's what she was feeding her garden with, and all of her whole garden was thriving.
Okay. And I won't call it a problem, but I have the majority of my pots on top of artificial turf. That's where I was having my concern.
You say you have a majority of your pots on artificial turf?
Correct.
Oh, I mean, like I said, that's fine. It's all about what you're going to put. It's all about what you're going to put in the pot, though. That's the main thing. You don't have to worry about that. Like, container garden is an amazing thing. I mean, yeah, it runs out of water sometimes, but you can grow amazing things in that same thing, which, like you said, you are already. It's just trying to bring some more life to it if it needs it, or if it doesn't have it already. Because you'll be able to also taste. Sometimes you'll be able to taste the difference from a plant that has good life in it. It'll be more sweet. And the plant will also let you know if it's too bitter sometimes. Not in every case, but a lot of cases, if it's too bitter, it's lacking some type of beneficial bacteria in it.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now, you said the dung, and there was one word you said. I was trying to write it down.
You talking about mycorrhiza fungi?
Yes, sir. How do you micro, MICRO, and what was the second word?
It's like rhizo, like the Let me get it for you. Let me get it for you. So I can make sure I'm spelling it right too. Because sometimes people will sometimes people spell things in different ways. I wonder if this is one of them. Yeah, mycorrhizal fungi. There you go. So you have MYCORR HIZAL.
Okay.
And just fungi, FNUGI. And you can Google that, and sometime you'll have some homestead sites give it to you, or you can get it from like Amazon or whatever the case may be.
Okay, perfect. Because I know I use those pots annually, and I didn't want the soil to, the health of it to diminish, being that I use it year after year.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you. You've been helpful. I appreciate it, and blessings. Thank you for all of your information.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you. All right. Shalom.
All right.
Shalom.
Bless you. Mm-hmm.
All righty. I think we missed a caller. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder. Thank you for your lesson on gardening. Very good knowledge as I'm starting myself. I wanted to know about what is the best soil for seedlings, like, direct sow seedling, because I'm starting a lot of seeds.
You said you're starting a lot of seeds?
Yeah, because like sowing seeds, like seedlings, so plants from seed.
Okay.
So what's the best soil do you recommend, like nutrient-wise, for like seedlings?
They sell a actual like a potting soil for seedlings in your local nursery. So you just have to, so a lot of people will just take peat moss. Some people will take only sand or peat moss just as the medians for that, and deal with it like that, and then they'll add it into a better soil later. So sometime when you're just bringing the seedling up, it's not all about having the best nutrient soil, because a lot of that seed already has what it needs as it's growing up. It's just about after it becomes a seedling, what soil you're going to put it in.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And you can use cocoa core. You can use cocoa core. You can use peat moss, or you can use sand. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And some people also use just pure compost, but you know, you got to make sure that compost is done.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Is don't use compost because it's too tight and the seedling won't breathe.
Yeah, well, you can put some what's that white stuff called that makes it loose, perlite, things like that. You can, I mean, you can, but I mean, when I look at the East Indians and people like that, man, they be using some sand, cocoa coir, and that's about it.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Well, thank you for the info.
No problem, my sister. Bless you.
All right.
Okay. We got 631 area code.
Shalom, my elder. How you doing?
Shalom. Who we got?
It's brother Emmanuel from the Florida Body. I go by Manny on Instagram. I've messaged you a couple times before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you Levi, huh? I know who you are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to hear your voice.
Yes, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed. How about you and your family?
Doing amazing, my brother. Doing amazing. Always working and putting in work.
Cons. So I have a question. It's regarding the corn seeder. Last year I tried to grow some corn and my harvest was destroyed by, I believe it's called the piercing bug. I don't know if you ever seen it.
Okay.
It's a little bug that goes around, and every time you try to look at it, it'll move to the side. And I've been looking. It's a tricky little bug, and that bug destroyed my whole harvest of corn about a year and a half ago. So I wanted to know if you come across that type of issue with your corn harvest, and how did you deal with that?
Yeah, every area is very different. Every area carries different pests and some similar. But if I feel like I need to spray, I'm gonna make a natural spray. I'm gonna maybe put a little water, some hot peppers in there, soak it overnight, a little garlic and onion, put it in a spray bottle with a little dish soap, spray it. Or if I feel like I need to use neem oil, the only problem with neem oil is it takes away the beneficial pollinators and things like that. But mostly you can get some garlic oil, put it in a bottle with some dish soap, deal with it like that. You can also I mean, those usually are the main things. You know, you use just some essential oils that deals with these pests, and a lot of them is garlic, or plant garlic next to it. You can plant little companion things like marigolds, and you got little things that you can plant next to your plants to keep it away, garlic and onions and herbs. So a lot of times I will do those things as well. But if you need to spray the corn with the things I just said, you just have to spray it. You have to spray it once a week, and if you see them come back again, then you just keep spraying. But sometimes you got to, in different areas, some people have to spray once or twice a week with natural things like that. So that's what I would say. And if you have to do neem, then do neem. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
A little neem, a little neem in one of those sprayers, with a little dish soap. I do all in. You can do all in one, and then keep it moving. But I only use neem if I have to. I also sometimes use chlorine dioxide for some things, like the vegetables.
Okay. So. All right. The water for that. And last comment, I have the spray. I received my spray from you, the breath spray. I forgot what it's called. Oh man, that thing is amazing.
Hey, you look. Hey, there you go. Now the wife can be like, "Come on over here." You know.
Yes, sir. Well, for everything you do, sir. I appreciate you. Double honor to you and all the leaders Y'all doing a wonderful work, and throw out there again. That's all I got.
Good talking to you, my brother. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir. You have a blessed night.
You too now. Shalom. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, I guess before we get another caller here, let me see. We had a new little lamb. I got the kids out there learning this irrigation and things like that. So let me show you some of this stuff. I got the babies out here learning self-sustainability and things like that. You know, this is just, them learning how to do irrigation on their own at a young age. Because sometimes they'll charge you $500 to $1,000+ to do this stuff. You get your irrigation hose, the little thing she got there. Okay. Who we got calling in? Get your irrigation hose.
Shalom, this is Sister Shayara from California, buddy.
Okay, how you doing today?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Doing wonderful, trying to educate our people on making sure they can live in a self-sustainable way.
Yeah, I appreciate the advice that you put out there, Elder. I had a question about cats in the garden.
Ooh.
There's neighborhood cats that come around. I don't know if you've dealt with that before, but do you have any advice on what to do? Because I don't really want to get rid of them because they keep pest away, but I don't want them going in the garden. And I've seen them doing it.
Okay. Here's a few things you can do. You can get some coffee grounds. They do not like coffee grounds. They don't like coffee grounds in the garden. You can sprinkle, little red pepper or spray red pepper oil or something like that with a little dish soap, around. Or just the oil itself with water. You can spray that, but make sure you don't get it on you. It's because it's going to, you have a huge garden or mid-size, mini, what?
Small. Backyard.
Okay. So, yeah, so you should be able to spray a little, red pepper or get some coffee grounds. You can get free coffee grounds from a coffee shop or just buy them. They don't like those. If that doesn't work, what you can do, go to Amazon and type in like electric fence. You're going to see like a little animal electric fence. You can unroll it. You can put it in the ground with little stakes, and then you get you a little solar. And I'll show it how you guys can do this one day. Very simple. You get you a little solar, what do you call it? It's like a solar charger to electrocute anything that tries to come, through that little gate. And if they touch that gate, they'd be out of there. So I can do a video on that, but that's it. Pretty much give you the details on how to do it. It's like a little green and yellow electric fence, and you just put it in the ground, boom, with some stakes. Then you attach the little metal at the end so that the electricity can go around the whole fence. You take a rebar from Home Depot, beat it in the ground like maybe about 2-3 foot rebar. Beat it in the ground at least a foot and a half. Very simple. And you take a electric solar. It got to be solar electric charger. Give you like 2 battery cables that come on it. You plug one of the battery cables on the rebar, and then you plug the other one on the fence. So anything that touches that fence when you turn it on, it's going to not kill it. It will, electrocute it a little bit. Rabbits, squirrels, anything, and they won't come and mess with your garden anymore. Now, if you can't get it, then I will show a video of it. But those are the 2 options that I know so far, because I've had those cats try to come and poop and do things in my garden. I don't like it, because that can be very disgusting, and it can be parasitic. You know what I mean? And whatever the case may be. So
thank you. Yeah. So would you? I'm just restarting. So I don't know how much is in there, but should I like not use that soil at all, or try to sift it out and then restart, or?
You can try to sift it out. You can take like the little cat scoop that you would clean out their little litter and scoop out their poop, and just you can spray something wherever you see it at. You can actually spray something on that. I mean, the soil is going to take care of itself. The microbes are going to take care of itself, but you would have some gloves on if you're going to deal with that soil. But you can spray things like lactobacillus on it. I'm supposed to be selling some lactobacillus on my site, but on Lions Homestead. So hopefully I can get that on there soon. But things like that will help it. Or chlorine dioxide. You can spray chlorine dioxide definitely on that area, and it will kill whatever's going on there. Any type of whatever type of nonsense that comes out of that cat poop, it'll deal with it. Or dog, whatever.
Okay. Would that be like a light mixture or a heavy mixture? Because I had got some from
So I will put about, let's see, 5 to 10 drops of part A, and then I will activate 5 to 10 drops of part B. Put it right on top of it, obviously. Let it sit for a minute. Add your water in your spray bottle, or if you're using a big sprayer, and just, and if you want to add some essential oil in that on top of that, you can. I don't know if it's necessary, but you spray that area. You can spray your whole garden with that. But don't spray it in the sunlight. Spray it more so evening when the sun's going down, so it don't burn the plants.
Okay, then it'll be cool to.
Yep.
I don't feel like I would have to like restart because it just killed all of whatever they had in the soil.
No.
From dropping in there.
No. Their poop is not going to kill the soil. It's just it can try to contaminate for us, for our for what we eat. But you can spray that area, like I said, in the chlorine dioxide. Chlorine dioxide, let me tell you something. Mold. I don't care what it is. If you watched it on Rumble or go to Facebook and type it in and see what it does. Heavy metal. It don't matter. Like, it's going, we don't deal with marijuana in our church, but whole marijuana people who grows this stuff in factories and places like that, they spray that stuff with chlorine dioxide. Like, that's what they use. That's how powerful this stuff is. So, they use it on vegetation is what I'm saying.
Okay, and then last question is, like, after I spray it, should I still wear gloves? Because, my children help me.
Yeah,
that's the plan for them.
Initially.
Okay.
Once you do that and give it some time, like a few weeks to defend itself, like I said, your little microscopic army in there are going to come in there and do what they need to do. Now, another thing you can do, you can get you some microbial fungi, put it in that area, and it'll go in there and help eat up anything that's crazy too. Now, you don't have to do that, but with soil, sometimes it just take like a little time, but you can do what you need to do. Put you some gloves on, and if you feel like you just need to scrape that part out and add some new soil right there, cool. But once you spray that chlorine dioxide, let me tell you, me and my brother went to a hotel. Hotel smelled like straight smoke and mold. Man, we took that chlorine dioxide, took some tissue or some paper towels or something like that, put it in a can or something, put that thing in that vent, clean that whole place out that quick. That's how powerful that stuff is, because we couldn't breathe in there. It just smelled like our whole breathing was messed up. So that stuff is powerful. So it'll make sure you're good.
Thank you so much, Elder.
No problem, my sister.
I really appreciate it.
No worries. All right. Bless you.
Shalom. Bless you.
Shalom. Let me tell you, y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. putting that irrigation together. So you got the 4-year-old right there learning irrigation, putting the holes in there where you're going to put the emitters inside of there.
Okay.
I see you. You learned how to do that. How old are you? It says I'm out of vitamin C. Yes, I'm going to restock. As a matter of fact, if I'm out of vitamin C and they didn't let me know, you're going to have it in 2 days. Don't worry about it. So just hit me up in 2 days if you don't see it on there, please. All right. Let me go to let's see what else we got here. What else we've been doing out there?
What you doing, son?
They pushing, baby.
I don't know what happened. Hold up. I don't know what happened here. 1 second. All right, let's see here. Skipping around. Plant corn. He's putting a little hole in the ground. Everybody think you got to till. You don't have to till. That's not true. I've been doing this for years. You don't got to till nothing. So this is just another method. All of the methods is good if you know how to make them work. If you can put holes in the ground with a what do you call that? A post hole digger, a electric or gas post hole digger, just a stick like the old days, because you're not gonna mess up the bacteria in the ground. I have done both ways, and personally, if I'm going to till, it'll be the initial tilling, but eventually I would want that garden to not be tilled after that, okay, as much as possible. Every garden is different. Every soil is different. And eventually turn that garden, if I till initially to make it in mounds, I'm eventually going to want to cover it, you know what I mean, either with cover crops or cover it with mulch and just, good organic matter to eventually turn it to where I don't have to till it anymore. I can just put the seed right in there. So that's what this is here. I've never really planted here, so I don't want to mess up the soil biology. I want to initially come in with the corn. It's going to break up. The grass roots are very small, so the corn is going to go down very deep. It's going to break up the soil around it. I'm going to plant herbs and garlic in between it, and then you come back. Once it starts to grow up, you put all of your organic matter around it. It's gonna kill all the weeds, you know what I mean? And then now you got you a whole system going where the way that the time it took that soil to get to where it is now, you don't want to take away from it. We don't got time to be taken away from soil right now. We need to continue to add to it and build to it where it is. So I've grown sunflowers like this, corn, so many things like this. So never think you have to break your back and till. It's still gonna be hard work, because this is hundreds of corn. I got sunflowers, corn, moringa, kale getting ready, watermelon, cucumber, you know what I mean? So it can be done this way. Some people think the grass is going to updo it. The grass is not going to updo it at all. You just need to know what to do in the process of coming around it as the plant grows to add to make sure that it doesn't take away from it. Also, right where they're putting it, you see the emitter, the drip emitter right there. So it's going to be watering right in that area, not wasting water with the sprinkler. I did have the sprinkler, but it wasn't getting it, good. So that's what they're doing there. We had some few animals come through. Got some babies. These are the new additions. These are the new additions. Let me see here. These are the new additions. Where are they? There she goes. Got some more babies coming out too. Know why this thing is skipping around like this? I don't know what is going on. 1 second. Why is this thing skipping around like this? There she go. That's the new addition. Just had a baby calf. She didn't went on the other side because the horse was messing with her. So I had to put them all in a pen.
Hard work, but somebody got to do it late night. You know what I'm talking about? Late night getting money. When I'm supposed to be with my honey. You know what I'm talking about?
That's an electric line. Putting up the electric fence. I was putting up the electric fence for the cattle so they wouldn't get out. That's an electrical line. Poly and aluminum. There she go. Look at her. Yeah, so there was another video. I don't know why it skipped out of there. Where's that other one? Is it this one here? Why? Why does it keep doing this? Why does it keep doing this? Why? What is going on today? So yeah, so that's that new one, and then we got this lamb that just came. For day on the homestead. This is that wild chicken where I don't have to use incubation. That's her actual son right there, from one of the white roosters. I'm gonna show you guys full compost teeth. Good job. That's all a little. So basically, I have a wild chicken. She makes it to where I don't have to do incubation because she's a broody hen. If she's having eggs, I go buy some more chicks and I put them all together and she cover them all and I don't have to do no incubation. So I'm trying to breed more of her type so I can keep doing it like that. Hopefully it works out. These are her babies and the ones she mothered that, that hopefully they're going to be the same. At least the ones that come from her. The beautiful ram that had the beautiful lamb. Let's see what you got, my brother. Come on. How you doing, mama? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Glad we ain't had the bottle feed this one. Look at that. You doing okay, mama? You doing okay? You doing okay? Oh, how beautiful. You're gonna be a big one. Such a beauty. Yeah, so, you know, that's what we've been doing. Moving hay around. There she go again. They doing all right. Hey, little mama. What's up? What it do? I ain't finna do nothing. I said, what it do? I ain't finna do nothing. I just said, what it do? So that's what we've been doing on the homestead, if you want to know. Working as usual. You know what I mean? Putting the work in for certain. Don't worry about it. Ain't no talking around here. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing but walking. Ain't no talking. Boys being boys. So, yep, that's it. That's all we've been doing is working. Oh yeah. Listen, brothers, let me show y'all this. This is how I get burdens off my back. This is how I get burdens. This 700. It's 700. Hold up. This 700 to 1,200 pounds right here. This is how you can get exercise right on the homestead. I'm finna show you. Right here. If this video don't jump. Look. This is how you can get exercise right here on the homestead. Squatting down. Doing deadlifts when you planting. Picking up things. Get outside. When there's no weights, when there's no gym, it's gonna be a way to keep us slim. Okay? And this is one of them, because you know we gotta have some heavy hitters on our team. You still gotta have some heavy hitters. This hay, it ain't nothing about 700 to 1,200 pounds. You know, ain't no steroids around here. You got to get it out the mud. Sometimes you got to be the tractor. There we go. 360. 360 there, boy. 360. Come on. There you go. That's it. Hey. That's that Gadite gorilla. A little quick exercise. You know what I'm talking about? That's that Gadite gorilla right there. Nah, man, it's all fun, man. Well, till next time, it keep you nice and healthy. But this is a nice way to do it when you don't want to move it. Rock showed me a video. Rock showed me a video, and when you want to move it somewhere and you don't have the equipment, this is where brotherhood comes in. Knowledge, wisdom. So you'll take that hay and you'll put you a big old, I put a fence post. You can take a big old pipe and you put it in the middle. You get you some straps, strap it to your van, strap it to your car, whatever you got. Strap it to your lawnmower. It's all on YouTube. And pull this thing wherever you got to pull it until you can afford to get you a nice front loader tractor or a hay dolly or whatever the case may be. I do grow hay, but if I can get somebody to come out and cut it for me, they be hating on us sometime down here. So as you see, when you strap it to something, look how the hay is just rolling from the pipe I beat through the middle, and that's it. We're gonna have to use what we have, and if not, be strong enough. Because if I couldn't push this hay alone, at least I know I have some help from the brothers. You know what I mean? But it's good to see the children watching you do things that they think they always need something extra. No. There you go. We made it happen. And you can do this with I've seen somebody do this with a small riding lawnmower. So I'm just putting it out there, you know what I mean, to show you guys. You don't need anything special. Until you have the finance to make things nice and pretty, you use what you have. I built this little cattle shelter that they're going to poop all around and in. I built that thing out of old wood Deacon Alam had laying around. I said, I'm going to take this old wood and I'm going to, before it rot away, build up a cattle shelter out of it. And I did. And eventually later you come back when you have the time and you make it nice. That's what you do. So, yeah, that's what we've been doing, man. This is what we've been doing on the homestead. Planting, preparing for the summer crops, whatever the case may be, and just getting it in like that. All right. So, oh, yeah, let me show you what else we've been doing real quick. Let me show you what else. Helping and loving our neighbor as you loved ourselves. This is what we've been doing with no fear. Do you see that? You see that big old, let me tell you, that 1,000-pound bull? Let's refresh it. Y'all remember this? Listen, we still doing that. We still doing that. Hold up. My neighbor was happy to see his bull come back home. You see what I'm saying? Yep, I got all the bulls back home. No fear. Nothing but the wisdom of the Most High. Do I got part 2? Hold up. Let me see. Do I got part 2? Let me get part 2. Show y'all we got them all back home. We got them all back home for the neighbor. Seen them on the street, and I said, I can't let them go out like that. Can't let my neighbor go out like that. Come on now. I don't know what's going on with YouTube tonight. Hating on me. Hating on me tonight. And then we're going to get out of here, y'all. I got to go get me something to eat. I just like to share this stuff just to show you, man, like this is who we are. This is where we come from. We are shepherd kings. Okay? We're shepherd kings. Man, what is going on with YouTube? I promise. They're like, nah, I don't want to show none of this dude what he doing. Don't show nothing he doing. He gonna be motivating people. That's how the devil want to do me. He gonna have everybody thinking they can do something. Yeah. They try to do me like Boyd on From. You gonna say we can't break you? Oh no, you ain't finna break me. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up. I need you. Look at that back on that boy. See, that's how we need to be in a human. We need to be doing the pull-ups. See that back on that boy? That's the bull traps. Look, I'm working together with my wife while she on the camera, and we done got these big old animals that people would have been running from, like these Mexicans be running from when they be having their parades, back to their home. It's in our blood, y'all. We got to get back to this. Shepherd kings and queens. Know what I'm talking about? There you go. Follow the shepherd, baby. They can look big, but they still animals if you know how to herd them right. You know what I'm talking about? That's my cow on that side. The wife tied. Look, she got my back though. She could have then dipped on me for them bulls. Another neighbor stopped to watch such a good deed. That's what this is about. Got him back home, baby. You know what I'm talking about? There we go. My pants got wet because I sat on that wet tractor seat.
Another episode of Loving Our Neighbor as You Love Thyself. Early in the morning when my lips is chapped, my hair ain't combed, but it's all good. Woo! Till next time on Lions Home.
Get your mind right. Yeah, so yeah, I'm back. There we go. I don't know what happened. Yeah, so that's it, guys. This is, what we've been doing, and we're going to keep it continued next week on how to get that soil right, because this is very, very important. If you haven't started yet, you can prepare an area. Go where the mulch is on sale at Home Depot or Lowe's. Y'all can't hear me? Yeah, we back. Go where the mulch is cheap or get some free mulch. Hay, straw, cover an area with cardboard and that. And if you're not prepared to do, to garden now, hey, let that thing rest probably until fall or something like that, or until next spring. But I would be trying to garden right now if you could. But I'm just saying, if you got an area where you just want that thing to be eventually totally flourishing, be patient. And next week, I'm going to go into it again to show you how important it is to what I'm talking about. I'm talking about for total nutrition. For total nutrition, not just like putting the seed in the ground, putting some fertilizer and growing it. Yeah, I'm not going to say anybody can do that, but I'm just talking about long-term nutrition for our bodies. When you can't go to the doctor, when this is all you depend on, that fungus and that bacteria is going to come in your gut that's already in those plants, and it's going to take care of you. You're going to have a whole different type of fiber, because all of the plants is going to absorb all of that dense nutrition come in your gut, and it's going to be relative to what's going on in your body. No sound still? Hold up. Testing. Still no sound? Yeah, they got sound. Yay. I'm looking at the sound right now. Anyway, man, we're going to get up out of here. Until next time on Lions Homestead, if it be God's will, I have to see. They say the sound is good. I have to see, am I going to do the Bible trivia next week with this, or next week after that? I have to see, because I really want to focus on I really want to focus on driving the rest of this through. This is very, very, very important. Okay, that you guys understand the benefits to doing it the way that the Most High said, so that you can live a long life. It's very, very important. Very, very, very important. Okay. Anyway, let me get up out of here. Thank you guys for calling in tonight. Make sure if you want to join our Hebrew and Bible Academy, you go to historytimes.org. All right. There it is right here. If you're new to our channel, we have a Hebrew and Bible Academy on Sundays. Okay, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Recorded if you got to go to work. Okay, where you can come back and watch it. We got the PDFs, all that. Okay, you got the themes right here. Everything's here for you. Learn the ancient Hebrew, get world news, get powerful historical lessons to get you caught up in this time. Whether it's getting you caught up in this time or not, because by default it's going to do that. It's powerful biblical information we can't just put out there in front of the world, because they take it, trample it, and do what they please with it, when it took hard work, fast, and prayer and all of this to bring this forward. Okay, so you can get powerful lessons all through the week, the Sabbath, Wednesday, Tuesday, Friday, but this one is like an actual school or academy. Okay, and it helps to support our work. Lessons like fall and rise of Israel, the lost books of the Bible, historical background of the gospel, seekers of the times, from Noah to Moses to Christ. All right, very, very powerful lessons. Okay, it's 3 months. Okay, and it's $50 a month. Okay, peace and blessings, and we appreciate all your support and everything you guys do. All right, so that's all we have. You know, if you want some supplements, all you got to do to go is KIIYsupplements.com and LionsHomestead.com. All right. Peace and blessings to you all. Shalom.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy.